Okay, no more vanity, let's do this. I've got, yes, your colleague has. My name is Marlene Lahmer. I was born in Vienna, Austria, and I'm a multimedia artist with a special interest in glass and in working performatively with materials and text. I'm part of a feminist collective called Elsa Plainacher, named after a woman who was burned as a witch in Vienna in the 16th century. And negotiating that history and bringing it to visibility in the city of Vienna is very important to us from a feminist perspective, to point out some of the historical heritage, but also of the continuities in injustice against women. I applied to JOSHIBI AIR to continue my PhD research on contemporary feminist art practices and heat. Having the opportunity to work with the glass department at JOSHIBI was especially inspiring for me because it gave me the opportunity to see a hot shop, a glass blowing facility used and run almost only by women. This will connect me to future research. Another thing that interested me greatly in Japan was volcanic activity and how geology and life are shaped by it. Because in Central Europe, we don't have that much volcanic activity. Volcano as a motive relating to how heat influences environments and lives is very important to me. Being close to volcanic activity and the unpredictability was very inspiring, and I wanted to glimpse at that experience myself. So I did a trip to Mount Azama in Nagano Prefecture, which is, I read, one of the most active volcanoes in this area. I saw the landscape there, the volcanic soil, the colors, the formations caused by lava, the smell of sulfur in the air. Being exposed to that with my own body was an important influence for the work I created during my residency, because I had been working previously with this idea of being exposed with your body to another substance that can potentially harm you. So I came to JOSHIBI with the plan of making the breast imprints, this time using a specifically female connoted body part. And for me, it relates to concepts of connectedness with the world, to breast milk, and to being connected with other people, species, surroundings through liquids. And glass is itself, even when it is in a rigid state, it keeps some of the physical and chemical properties of a liquid. So making these pieces, these breast pieces, at the open studio, I made them really into bras that people could wear. So it was about connecting your own body to the world, wearing a vessel that could carry a liquid, but that vessel is by itself also liquid. What I didn't expect is that the motifs of the volcano and the breast in glass would come together But working with these shapes, I found some similarities between the mountain and the breast, and the idea that the volcano squirts lava into the world and the breast squirts milk, and both has a huge effect and it's quite epic. Part of my artwork is poetry. It's an important part of my artwork because language is the first thing with which I make sense. I try to make sense of the things I hear and see. So very often when I start working with a topic, I write about it. And after a while, poems, like more precise poems, condense from that writing. Then it's always for me a very interesting challenge how to convey these poems, how to perform them. So in the past, I've done quite a few reading performances because it's interesting how to modulate my voice, how to play with intonation to catch an audience. And this time I expanded this performative gesture by wearing one of the glass bras while reciting the poems. And that was interesting because my poems are a lot about materiality, and they could not exist without my prior experience with materials. So doing a performance in which the material that gives me concept and the poem come together has been a good step. This was one of the great unexpected things that happened during the open studio. I did not foresee that. So one male person who tried on the glass bras said, "I feel shame, but I don't know why I feel shame." And I feel that was a quite significant and honest moment in the negotiation of masculinity. I love when that happens, and I like making people feel awkward with my pieces, like providing a sort of intimacy that suddenly puts you in a position, you're like, oh, this is awkward. And then you have to ask yourself, wait a second, why do I feel awkward about this? So that is something I habitually enjoy because it makes me understand that all this emphasis on intimacy as something political works. I'm happy to have had this scope of reactions in the audience. I hope that this contact with the piece or the refusing it, that this might trigger something. This might trigger some more questioning. My artist friends, my female artist friends, most of them have a style that's either very low maintenance, like myself, or one that is like edgy in a way that maybe also questions gender expectations. And I had the impression that here, I met many women who were very well styled, and that like having your style on point and looking feminine was perhaps more important here. Something that surprised me at JOSHIBI Festival was that there was this topic of princess, or like this overarching theme of if I understood it correctly, of coming to the art university and experiencing it as if you were a princess. And I have to say, like art making, the least, like being a princess and making art, that for me diverges very far, because making art, I'm dirty all the time. I wear the same leggings and pullovers every day, and for me there is very little glamour in making art. So it's about something very different. In Austria, people see me as quite like short, skinny, girly. I laugh a lot, like I have quite a high-pitched voice. So people would often put me into that category, girly, and not take me serious because of that. So I've had quite an ambivalent relationship with girliness, but I think it's very important to value that also, and to make clear that whatever expression of your gender or whatever style you choose, that is powerful. Part of my self-definition as a feminist is that I would like to help and support other young artists, especially female, non-binary, etc. artists in their career. And with my experience, I felt a little bit like big sister sometimes, which was a nice role. Not really like a teacher. I think being a teacher comes with a different set of responsibility. You know, I'm not that much older than many of them. I'm 28. I graduated from art university 2.5 years ago. I'm doing a PhD at the moment. There's still a lot I'm figuring out in the world of career and work and money and making connections, which is fun, and it is also exhausting. And so I felt I was still very close to them, and I hope that they can profit from this exchange. I don't agree with that. I don't think at all it's so easy to study art, because first of all, you need the financial background to do that, especially at a private university. I would guess that for young people, it's hardly manageable to work and pay study fees at the same time. So you kind of need the background of your family to support you through that, and also to be willing to invest in you studying something that does not present you with a clear-cut career path, like won't find you a job as easily as becoming a technician or a lawyer, or I mean, those are the cliche things. I think even if you have the family support for that, it needs a lot of your own bravery too, and a lot of your own passion to say, I entered this field of insecurity because it is that important to me. But it already limits the set of people who can study art, and I think everywhere in the world we're still confronted with the issue that we don't have so many voices from the working class represented in arts, because that career path is not really accessible. So many women making art, but also organizing and managing departments and university affairs, especially for my research interest in gender and glass. It was really cool to see a hot shop that is run and used almost only by women, and seeing how women work together there and claim a craft that is historically very male connoted. Something else that was interesting is that from my expectation and my background, I would have thought there would be more discourse around the fact that this is a women's university and what it means to enter the art world, the art market, the fields of craft, design, etc., as a woman. Because the history that women did not have such easy access to that field, that is still important. And I think nowadays we should still ask, when we graduate from a place like this, what position will I have? Or how can I be conscious of that history, and for that be especially intense and self-confident and believe in my professionality to work as a creative person. I hope to see that Joshibi uses this great potential it has for network, because I see that at this university there are the departments of art producing, art theory, and artistic and design practice in the same institution. So that allows for art organizers, artists, and theoreticians to already meet at the stage of their studies and create networks among themselves that will hopefully help them in the art world to make significant work. And it is, of course, it is important to have those networks among women. But actually, when I talk about women, when I write women, I always write an asterisk, a little star, that refers to the fact that women is a cultural category. I do not see gender as something essential, and I do not believe in the two-gender system. I do not believe that there are only male and female, but that this is something culturally constructed that we can choose to affiliate with, but we also have the choice to, but that choice can be temporary, and we have to, and there are, or we can refuse those categories. And I do not know what Joshibi's policy on non-binary gender is, but I'm really curious to see what it will be in the future. And maybe I just want to mention one last project. Actually, I understood that there is a male person studying here for a doctor's degree about representation of minority sexualities in a Chinese context. So this was, I think, really one of the examples where I saw like gender as a category and gender as a topic being negotiated. I think one of the biggest mistakes would be to think that we have reached gender equality just because we have come to agree that women are also people and that women are also have also talents. There is a lot more work for us to be done. In Austria, in Japan, everywhere in the world. Because I still see gender roles and gender expectations in place that are potentially, or that are very restrictive and harmful for many people. So I think we should continue asking ourselves, what does it mean that we expect women to be beautiful? Or what about our images of family and the roles that we allocate to men and women there? What about the idea of compulsory heterosexuality? What about making space in our thoughts for people who live sexuality with same-sex partners or in different ways? All these, to me, are concerns that are very much related to feminism. And there is this nice term of intersectional feminism that talks about the need to understand gender in connection with many other social categories. Because in our societies, we have grown up with certain stereotypes, not only about gender, but also about ethnicity, about ability. And I think we still have a very long way to deconstruct them and to point them out, even in ourselves. Even if we are very aware, these things sometimes go deeper than we consciously acknowledge. For me, art universities in general bear a significant responsibility to society because they are often the places where these issues are discussed first. It is often artists who start a discussion on these topics. I mean, there are also scientists and researchers who do that, but I see the role of art in doing a communication that is very different to the academic one, and that is often more effectful for different publics. So for me, art university, it's if we want to change, if we want to get ideas, if we want to change something in society, art university is a hot spot. So I think art university should be very much engaged in social issues and very much aware of what is going on in the world, and be a place that reflects the privilege and the responsibility of creative work. And I think a women's university specifically is a very good place, especially when it has the heritage of granting rights to women. Then that university should be aware of these issues and continue pointing out injustice.